Hey there, in today's video, I am showing you my 6 favorite tools for applying paint that are not a paintbrush. So I'd love to hear what you guys think, if there's any other tools that I don't know of or that I didn't mention that you enjoy using, because I'm always on the hunt for something new to apply paint. And obviously, you know, there's always going to be the paintbrush, but it's fun to see the other tools that can create, you know, a variety of not marks, but like ways to put the paint down that, you know, can change the tone and look of whatever you're working on. So anyway, here you go. Here's my 6 favorite tools for applying paint that are not a paintbrush. All right, the first tool that is not a paintbrush that I love using when I'm painting is the brayer. And I couldn't talk there for a second. So I was looking at it like, what are these? I have a variety of sizes. I think I'm just going to, for the sake of today, I'm just going to use this one, this kind of medium size. And the reason I like it is it's a great way to just get a lot of paint down in a short amount of time. Now, I will say that I have seen, or a lot of people use these on jelly plates, and that is another tool that I've been thinking about, because I haven't used my jelly plate in a long time, and I feel like that was going to be another one of those videos that I make that it's a long lost art tool. But you can see, I mean, it's super cool how the paint is spread around and it's not totally even. And obviously, I put the thickest part up here, and you could brayer another part on it. I could have brayered more to the edges, which I kind of just, brayered to the middle. But as you can see, it gets it down quick. It just spreads a very thin layer, and it's an easy way. And you can do it over the top of other paint. Brayers are just a really handy tool and a great way to put on, to spread out paint. Another way I like to spread paint around and use is to use these Bondo scrapers. I believe they may have originated in the car and auto body parts. I'm not really sure what it would be used for, but anyway, I have them in all sizes, and they come in a little 3-pack, and I will definitely link that below. I think I just got them off of Amazon, and they're very inexpensive. I think I'll use the medium-sized one on this page, just, for the sake of demonstration. And I'm just, again, going to I'm going to put the paint right on the page just to kind of make it simpler. And the paint just spreads on. Now, I will say this tool is not super flexible. I mean, I guess it's flexible, but it's a hard plastic, different from the next one I'm going to show you. So, but again, it's a great way to get on paint. You can see it kind of, we'll miss certain areas, which actually I kind of like. So it's not like, like a paintbrush that's just painting it directly on. You're getting a different effect. And I think that's the cool thing about these different tools is when you are painting, it's about using different applications to get a different effect. I could not get this effect if I was using a paintbrush. So I think the idea is, I can lay down paint in a different and in a more unique way with some of these tools that I'm showing you. Okay, this tool that I'm going to show you is the catalyst wedge. Now, I love these. They're a little different than the Bondo tool in that, although they're not, I mean, they are flexible. I just don't know how to describe it. It's just a different feel. And I do actually like these slightly better than the other ones, but I use these are my favorite ones to use. Now, the catalyst wedge actually comes in other designs. As you can see, this has, like little cutouts, and it comes like in little spatulas and things. This one is a slightly different shape. I just like the traditional, I guess it's a W06, I guess. I don't know if that's the size or the name. This is my favorite one of the catalyst wedges. So, well, I guess these two are the same. So I have 2 of the same, but I use them a lot. and they feel, I don't know, they feel good in the hand and they spread well, and they're just a great tool. So I think of these, and I'll move this to the side so you can see these a little bit better. I think of these more as mark making tools because of the little cutouts that they have. They create shapes and they make marks. So these I think of more as mark making than I do actually of paint application. So let me show you, and I don't know, if it's gonna, how much it's gonna show in terms of the differences, but I do, the way it spreads is, it's just very soft, and this one has, I think it's making lines because, I'm not the best at cleaning my tools, unfortunately, but on this, as you can see here, I mean, the paint does stick, but it will actually peel right off as well. So if you take your time, even if you leave paint on, it will eventually peel off. So again, the paint goes down fast, it goes down smooth. It just feels good in your hand. I think it's just a great all around tool. Now, honestly, like I said, I think I'm scraping marks into this because I had residual paint on it. I didn't clean the tip of it. So for example, this one looks like it's cleaned, although it does look like there's a few notches in it because it's just been used a lot. So typically, I think if you just wiped them off and you took better care of them, they would be a smoother surface. But I honestly like that it's just a different application of paint. It just looks different than the other things that we have looked at. And it just feels good. And it's just a great all around tool. One I would highly recommend for, using paint. And actually it works to put on other mediums as well. All right, the next tool I want to show you and talk about is the palette knife. I have a big assortment here of a lot of different sizes. I do have a few favorites, but I use all of them. As you can kind of see, they've all been used. It's not like, some have and some haven't. But let's grab one that's a little, can't find, just trying to find one that's, let's just use this one. It's actually, I want a bigger one because I'm going to spread it on this paper. So we're going to use this big one here, which is, quite large because I want to just show you how it spreads. It's okay. The palette knife, obviously, they're used for a myriad of things, on top, including, mixing paint. But look at that. It's just, oh my gosh, it spreads so nice. It's great. And it's smooth, and the application it's beautiful. You can find these not only with the wood handles, but also plastic. And I think those work just as fine as these. But you can, get into little corners. They have teeny tiny, they probably have tinier than this, but this is a really little one. Obviously, I haven't used it quite as much as I do these bigger ones. But again, it's another way to get paint on. It creates marks that are different and unique to the tool. And I feel like when you're making art, it's important to, mix it up so that all your brush stroke, like if you're using a brush, it typically, it'll just look like the same brush unless you either change out the sizes or change out the tool. So there's just so many ways to apply paint, and then it creates, just variations in whatever art that you're making. So obviously you don't necessarily need to use every single one of these tools in every piece of art, but it is something to consider as you're making art. Oh, how else can I spread that besides a paintbrush? So, use the trusty palette knife because it's another beautiful way to get paint down. All right, the next way I'm going to show you, to a tool that I'm going to show you is the color shaper. Now, this is a new one. I just bought a new set because I have worn mine out. So it's this, and I've never had a 3-inch, so I'm super excited. I just used it yesterday for the first time, both of these. So these are I love them. Now, these old ones that I have are well loved. And I wanted to show you that the paint does just peel right off. This is, rubber. And so it just peels right off, and then you can toss that. Now, obviously you get it up here on the metal and it doesn't peel off quite as easily, but I'm not painting up here. I'm painting with this lower part. Another thing I wanted to show you is, I use mine pretty hard. And if you can see here, there's like little divots in this one. So when I would scrape with this, there would be little you know, kind of divot marks. It would not be as smooth as when I use this one. And obviously, if you have paint or anything crusted on it, it's going to affect how smooth it is or how well the paint is spread. But I will say, even with those divots, sometimes I don't mind. It's about getting it down, and I actually like the marks that creates. But all that being said, these had been used a lot because it is such a great way to get paint down and to you know, paint over the top of things, that I was super excited to get another set. And then of course to get the 3-inch, which is just a great size. I probably, if on some of the larger canvases, if they made a 4-inch, that would be awesome. But the Bondo tool I think is a 4-inch, and that is really super handy. And there are some other hardware tools that you can use to spread paint on larger canvases. But there's just something that I really love about this. So I'm going to use, again, this medium-sized one. No, that's a small one, the 2-inch, just to spread the paint on this sheet of paper. And this has not been gessoed, but I figured it's, you know, the paint will spread pretty easily with this anyway. So it just, look at that. It's just, oh my gosh. Okay, and there is something on there. So I'm creating a mark, but you can paint, you know, thick, or you can pull it off thin. You know, this paint is obviously, you know, somewhat transparent, but you can leave it on thicker. You know, I could leave it thicker. But it just, and then you can see where you've gone over yourself. I mean, this is pretty common with this color shaper. So anyway, these are all tools I would just highly recommend. If this just is you know, it's just another great example of how to get paint down in a easy way, but creating new and different marks. Okay, the final way that I apply paint without using a paintbrush is just using my fingers or my hands. So obviously you can make as big or as little as a mess with your hands. My hands typically have paint and stuff all over them. It may not be the fastest way, but you could definitely, you know, you have some different kind of control, and it creates different kinds of lines and shapes based on the pressure that you're making with your fingers. And obviously you could get your whole hand in there if you wanted. So there's many times when I get my hand in there, and just because I feel like I can just dab at it, typically I don't necessarily cover a whole page with paint with my hand, but it is definitely always an option. And I often will get in there and use my hand to spread things out, or particularly on a portrait, I might just want that little thing right there. But anyway, your hands can be a really valuable tool as well. And I would highly suggest that you use those. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty, and paint will wash this. At least if you're using acrylic, it will, you know, it just washes right off. So anyway, that is all the ways that I would recommend, or my favorite ways of applying paint that I do not use when I'm not using a paintbrush. So let me know if you have any other suggestions, because I am always open to hearing, you know, what kind of unique tools people are using. And obviously, there is, you know, a whole world of art out there, and I'm sure you guys have some great ideas too. So I would love to hear them. Anyway, that's all for this time.